So a very warm welcome, everyone. If people are okay with it, I think we can. Hi, Nandini. We can put our videos on if you are comfortable, or if you are comfortable with videos off, that's also okay. Yeah. So thank you. It's good to see you all. We are doing this after a long time. We had stopped the weekly Saturday or Sunday sessions in the meantime. But I think one off session we can do once in a while. So first of all, it's really good to have you all here. So thank you for joining. And if one by one, we would like to maybe share what brought us to the topic today or to the discussion today, which I feel today it will keep it more experiential, like body oriented, rather than more talk oriented, which usually is the case. So would anyone like to share why are we here? Maybe to start with a few lines would be nice to hear.
Hello, Monica. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, hi Saurabh. Yes.
Yeah, I think of late I was reflecting on some thoughts about the anger management, and recently I also was reading an article on the speaking tree. So while I was reflecting, saw the message in the group of what we are part of. So that's how I messaged Monica as well about this group and all. So indeed, I think when we talk about being our own friend when nobody is there with us, definitely the way I am reflecting nowadays on this is in terms of having somebody as a supreme soul, which is always with us, which is within us. So even at 2 a.m. in the night, if nobody is there with us, of course, he is the one as a supreme being who is always with us. So resonating with those thoughts, I was keen to kind of join this session to understand what does it mean to be our own friend, though with a lot of queries as well. So that's how I thought of joining today's session here.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Saurabh. Yes.
Thanks.
Yeah, anyone? If we don't like to share, that's also okay. But if anyone would like to share why are we here today, it would be nice to hear.
I can add a few things. Recently, I read somewhere resentment and love or joy cannot coexist. And in the when we hear the masters talk, that you cannot have complete faith or love if you have these negative emotions. The lack of love comes when we don't have enough faith in ourselves. So it's easier for me to hear these things, and it's easy for me to talk myself out of negative emotions when they are happening. If I am feeling jealousy, I can talk myself out of it, but I don't know how to find a permanent, how to uproot it completely from myself. It's like even talking myself out of it is very it's almost like fooling myself. It's very momentary. So I think in order to actually find a solid ground, I need to be my own friend. I have to start loving myself, and I feel I'm quite lost. It's something I've been trying to do for 10 years, and I try different techniques, but end of the day, it's not happening.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So Monica, I'm here firstly because I love your sessions. So that is the reason. And one very important reason is that having been in my own journey, like of reclaiming this inner self, I feel that it is very empowering, and I want to know. I wanted to be part of this sessions to know how it goes about, because these sessions are always very organic, and there's so much that touches the chord and you deepen your understanding. So that is the reason I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Shweta. Thank you for sharing. One can also share that I was free today and I just joined. Those of us who have not yet shared, that's also okay.
Yeah, actually, Monica, this morning I saw the poster and I just joined. It was such a pretty white flower, and and there was this. Actually, there were a little bit of white flowers in our garden also today. So, I just saw the poster and I said, let me just join. It was such a nice topic, also.
Yeah.
So
Good.
interesting.
Yay, my poster worked.
Worked.
Good one. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, Aradhana ji, you have joined us after a long break. Would you like to share anything?
Hi, Monica.
Yeah.
May have just first recovering from COVID and then just get carried away with things. Just they keep me occupied sometimes. But this time, again, this is an example that I want to be my friend. I quickly finished up the dinner and everything with kids and everyone. I said, "Baki ka kuch samay to, I'm going back." What in the last few years, like, approximately in the last 1 year, मुझे लगा है कि क्योंकि मैं अपनी फ्रेंड नहीं बनी थी, that is why I had to go through so much. Whenever I have tried to find myself out there somewhere, like going out of the way, doing things, but ignoring myself, ignoring my calling, and that is where I have invited a lot of pain. I have not listened to what my heart was saying. I was completely ignoring it, getting the signals, ignoring it, just kept going, and I landed up in a very bad shape. You know about it. Yeah, and more with each passing. It is not that those moments, those hurts are not there still. There are still days when I just really drown somewhere in so much of darkness. So much of darkness. Yes, at home, everybody's there to support me, my husband, my kids, everyone. But still, I think that struggle, that fight, but something is there which tells me, get up again. You have to just be with yourself. And off lately, I try as much as possible. The one thing is that I have become very much aware of that I'm going in that thought direction again, where all these questions, why, how, this and that. Some days when I'm very low, I think I kind of lose the grip and then I get carried away. But there are some days when I'm strong enough, when those thoughts are starting, I just hold on to them. No, I'm not going there. Mother, look, I'm going back there again. So I think these little ways I'm trying to be more and more with myself, trying to listen to what my heart is saying and understand where there is peace. It is like just observing myself. I have found my flaws. I have got to know myself so much now. But yes, those bad moments come again and again. Every few weeks, I'll cry, I will howl. Like, I think there is one part of me which still is looking for some answer somewhere, but at the same time, the other part is saying, answers are within you. Accept whatever has happened and see what best you can bring out of it. And that is what I'm working towards. And yes, listening to your sessions has immensely helped me. And now husband and baby, they also know sometimes mom is off. Okay, the old story is playing up again. So sometimes they're supportive. Sometimes they will come and explain to me, "Theek hai, ho gaya, forget it." But yes, it was a very, very deep connection and it's still very hard, very painful. But yes, yeah. So I think more and more with each passing day, it is becoming very clear to me that being my friend is very important. And these sessions kind of a reminder, even though I listen to recordings, all I think I don't do anything else whenever I have time other than listening to Savitri or any other sessions and try to pick up one thing from them, from any of those sessions, and try to implement as much as I can. Yeah. So I think yes. And today I was adamant that I have to join, whatever the reason. कुछ भी हो, खाना अपने आप बना पड़ा, खा लोगे, कर लोगे, whatever. I just left everything, and then I said I'm going upstairs to listen to my session now. So yeah, that is one way of showing that I'm doing something for myself. I'm doing something. Yeah. When I'm not feeling good, go out with, sit with plants, talk to them, see the flowers bloom, see the tree changing leaves, and kabhi wo flowers hain, kabhi wo seeds hain, kabhi wo kuch. It is like these minute things. When you are one with yourself, then you see those little things. Yeah, journey long, very long way to go. But yes, I know now that I am at least trying my level best to walk on that path. And thank you. All these sessions always uplift me. Sometimes I just ignore those things. I just want to maybe drown myself into those things. Sometimes I think, you get that pleasure out of it. ये हो जाए, फिर वो हो जाए, फिर मैं ये कह दूं, फिर मैं वो कह दूं. And then I know physically how draining, how exhausting it is. Sometimes it feel like कि बस अभी तो मैं गई. I cannot handle it anymore. And that is when I just, with a deep calling, I say, show me the way. And then I can't even tell you how deep that calling becomes when you see that it is becoming unbearable now. There are clarities now. I don't want to go on that path. Yeah, so I'm trying to be my friend, and that is why I'm here again, to get that remembrance again. Yes, how important it is to be with yourself. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, beautiful. Yes. So, the topic today, I think most of us have already really beautifully reflected upon it. We abandon ourselves. And we don't even get to know that we have abandoned ourselves. It seems paradoxical that how can I abandon myself? If we think about it, that here I am, how can I ever abandon myself? But we do. All of us know that we do abandon ourselves. And how do we do that? I feel that the more we get lost in the repetitive pattern of thoughts, all of us have that. This is what we call abandoning myself. So when I talk about, I want to be my best friend, I want to be my bestest companion, how to do it? Because this was this question, it was not planned. This session was not planned. Today, I did not have any other occupation. So I just shared that reflection in the morning. And somebody asked this question privately, that how do I practice becoming my best friend? So I shared with her also my thoughts, but then I thought, why not, share together that what is the process? It's almost very paradoxical that to be our bestest friend, we have to be practicing it, but that's how it is somehow. Why? Because we are too practiced not to be our best friend. We are too much habituated to be in the pattern of repetitive loop of thoughts. That appears normal life to us. Thinking excessively becomes our normal life. अरे normally तो है, अगर वो हुआ incident तो सोचूंगी नहीं क्या उसके बारे में. This is what our normal life becomes. And to realize that when I am in the forest of the thoughts, all the masters and mystics have warned against this. The Kabir, in his own words, he says that kaante wala jhaad, as if the forest of thought. And it's impossible that you get in and get out without getting wounded and bleeding profusely. So when anything, things will happen, events will happen, people will abandon, because that's how it is. People change, their priorities change, each one has their own soul journey. I cannot control or fix anyone else's life. But the desiring self is always demanding and expecting ki ye ho jaye, wo ho jaye, mere hisab se ho jaye, this and that. And that takes me deeper and deeper into my story, deeper and deeper. I'm trying to connect dots there, but I'm not finding any resolution there. No one has ever found a resolution in their stories. Billions of human beings. Why? Because the resolution is not there. So when we talk about being our bestest friend and companion, I have to realize that it is not by losing myself in thoughts that I can be my bestest friend. That's why Radhana ji was sharing, it's too draining in energy. It sucks out our energy. Even the negative emotions Aisha was talking in the beginning, the more I think about them in a loop, what happened, why did it happen, and this is how I'm feeling, there's no end to it, first of all, and I drain a lot of energy. So the draining of energy is a signal that I am going away from myself. Although I can never go away, paradoxically, I can never go away from myself, but the more I lose myself in thoughts, I become one with thoughts. That's what we say, abandoning myself, being almost an enemy of myself. So what would be coming back home or being our bestest friend? Coming back to the body. Breath is one thread which has been shared by masters. Hang on to the breath, cling to the breath. Consciously become aware of your breathing. And through breath, we get in touch with the body. Now, if there is a negative emotion, where to find the resolution? Not in the thoughts. The emotion is here, right here in me. I can see jealousy happening, hatred happening, victimizing happening, blame happening. That's in my body, right? So how can I be my bestest friend when this is happening? I stay in the body. I stay with the physical sensation of whatever is happening. The tightness, the constriction in the chest, the butterflies in the stomach. Staying one with the breath and the body. And again, we will see the attention will again go into the thought. Again and again, we will see ourselves like a pendulum moving to the thought and then coming back to the body and breath. Moving to the thought, then coming back to the body. So this pendulum-like movement is okay. It can happen. Because we are beginning to learn it, how to do it. And it's still the mind is so habituated to go that way, the thought forest, that again and again, without wanting, I go there. Why do I go there? But pattern, old pattern. And what do I want to do now? If there is a willingness within to be my best friend, I'm going to again and again bring my attention with my body, with my breath. I'm going to stay with the physical sensation of any emotional or mental overwhelm that is there. I'm not going to think about it. Why I'm not going to think about it? Because I know that I never found any resolution there. It drains my energy and it's a self-torture. And now, since I want to love and care for myself, I am not going to torture myself. Most of the miseries are self-created miseries. So I'm going to now stop fueling that misery. This is, what do I do with a friend? If a friend is in pain, I would hold the hand and sit. Maybe apply some lotion or whatever and sit with the friend. This is what I am to do with myself. Challenges, there is no end to challenges. Why? Because earth is a field for progress. Challenges are going to be there, but I am not going to leave my side. Even most loved ones, we begin to expect things from them, that at least this person will stay. In this person, I've invested so much, our children, from them we begin to have expectations. Are ye to, mere saath rahe, mere bure waqt mein. Nahi, wo bhi nahi rahega. Why he would not stay? Because everyone has their own journey. He may stay, he may not stay, but I am not going to abandon myself. So I think it's almost, as some of us were sharing, it's almost a continuous reminder that one has to give oneself, because we forget. We are born in forgetfulness. So immediately something happens and I begin again expecting from others to hold my hand and caress me and hug me. Okay, if it's there, okay. But if it's not there, I am going to stay with myself. By coming back to the body, by bringing my attention back to the breath and the physical sensation. That's what we call coming back home. Because when the mind is elsewhere in the thought forest and I am lost in the thought forest, I am not home. And all of us have this pang of separation. We have taken up these mortal bodies. It's impossible not to have suffering and pain, because we feel separated from our divine essence. The fullness, the contentment, the joy, the bliss that we feel separated from that. So it's impossible that we will not have pain. But with the pain, can I live a good life? I think it's a possibility. It's a possibility that making our life richer, by having a very intimate relationship with oneself, picking up any good abilities or talents that we have, nurture them. Somebody was saying, looking at flowers, being one with the flowers, just being in a sense with them, feeling them heartfully, deeply. Art, music, walking with awareness, touching our own self with awareness, even that can be intimacy. Using our empty time wisely and not loitering around in thoughts, because then I've wasted that time. If I got some silent time and I spent in thinking to no result at all. Usually thinking never gives us any concrete result. It's all temporary solutions that we find there, and they're not worth it. They're not worth it. So can I use that empty time in order to get in touch with myself? And how to get in touch with myself? I think we are going to do a little short, maybe practice here. How to utilize the periods of rest, empty time, silent time, how not to wander them, waste them around. Because if those silent periods, I use them really nicely and wisely, that when the mind arises out of this good company that I give, it's a beautiful mind. It's not the same person who went into the recluse, into the silence. The person has changed. The person is transformed. So it is impossible, I think, for each one of us, it is impossible that we learn to know, how to be our bestest friend without getting in touch with our true essence, which is the essence of awareness. Being awareness ourselves. And this is what happens in love. If anyone has ever been in love, even so-called romantic type of falling in love, what happens? So you feel such a great connection with the other person that there is a silence in the being. There is a depth that you achieve. As if things stop, the time stops for a while. Nothing matters. So through that other person, I get in touch with a depth within me. Now the ego, what it does, it likes the depth. Who doesn't like the depth? But then I hanker after the person that, hey, you gave me the depth last time. Now you give me the depth again. So I'm now after his life or her life, that, hey, so the ego takes it in a ugly form, like we become too expecting and too demanding. While on the other hand, what could I have done? Once I have that taste of a deep depth in me, can I just stay with that depth? Can I nurture that depth in me, that intimacy in me, that oneness in me? Totally removing from the side that I got it from somebody. So if I remove the object of sense perception and just stay in touch with the depth that gave me, that moment that it gave me, then something miraculous can happen. Then first of all, I'll not become demanding in that relationship. that, hey, you gave it to me, last time, you give to me again. So this I don't do, because this is a torture. And the other thing is that I take the essence. The essence is the depth that love gives us. And to stay, to make that depth our regular life. Mother and Sri Aurobindo, what do they talk about? They talk about living within, living in our depths. So human love, falling in love, can give a beautiful glimpse in that, living in that depth, if I can take it that way. Because mostly we don't take it that way. We just become too possessive and hankering after the person and the relationship, and we spoil it. We spoil it usually. While on the other hand, the same thing, same experience can give me just a glimpse of that oneness and intimacy and the depth. And can I just stay with that depth within? The silence, the hush that we touch when we fall in love. If those of us who have, I don't know how many of us have, but yeah, it's a beautiful experience. Yeah, so anything before we start a little practice? Anyone wants to share any doubt or any reflection?
So when you, Monica, when you say in intimacy, right? I mean, so there was this, I think a couple of years back, I think I saw this video. So he, put it very nicely. So broke up the word, the into me, intimacy, so it's into me, I see. And it's so true, because you build that only with, yourself. If you start reflecting and introspecting, and that's something that it's like how you said, right, falling in love with yourself. So that's something that yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, Saurabh.
So Monica, what happens, like for example, to your point, if someone is starting to observe the bodily sensation, the feeling of that concern or worry, and again, you're right, it will go back to the thoughts again. You will have to get it back to your body sensation, but somewhere in the mind you always say this is okay, but the problem still persists. It is not going anywhere. So and probably you think I am the doer. Only I have to take the pain to get it solved. Maybe it takes months, years or so, but nobody else can help me. So that's where probably sometimes the issue happens, even though I am in the observer mode. But still, I somewhere in the bottom of my heart, I feel if I don't look into the problem, who else will solve the problem? And that's how the worry starts. And this again is a vicious cycle.
So Saurabh, this reminds me of maybe Albert Einstein. I think he said that the problem cannot be solved by the same mind that created the problem. So there is problem. Their problems will remain in life. Challenges will remain. Unresolved things will remain. But if we truly want to find a good resolution to our problems, so even there, if I get deeply in touch with my own silence and depth, there is a possibility of a deeper resolution. Because if I try to solve the problem with the same limited conceptual mind, which has very limited window into the problem, we hardly can reach any time, a full resolution. That's why we keep on going in circles in our problems, circles. For years, we can be in those circles. Why? Because the same mind which created the problem is also trying to solve the problem. That's not going to happen. Kabir says, door ko सुलझा raha hai aur sira milta nahi. So we are trying to as if resolve a knot, and neither of the ends are with me. How can I do that? So if I truly want, and you are right that the mind wants a resolution. We all want a resolution. And why do we want a resolution? Because somewhere there is a promise. If I get a resolution, I will be content and at peace. So what am I actually wanting? Peace and contentment. because the problem takes away my peace. The problem takes away my contentment. So if I first tap into my peace and contentment, rather than waiting for the problem to first get resolved and then arriving at peace and contentment, the process shifts. The process has shifted. Now the mind is not the same mind which created the problem. So there is a promise of a deeper resolution.
Thank you. I think wonderful. Need more reflection. So thank you for sharing.
So let us, if not anything at the moment, we can share also later. Let us do this little small exercise, which nowadays we stress upon, to practice, to make it a daily practice, because we forget who we truly are. And if I forget who I truly am, I suffer. So suffering, then what is suffering? Suffering is a signal. Hey, babe, you have forgotten who you truly are. So suffering is nothing but just a signal, right? So let us do this, if I can say, practice of getting in touch with my true self. Because there where the true contentment, true peace is lying, and not in trying to find resolutions through the limited mind. I would never come to a resolution there. And if I still am not convinced, I can go around and play with the thoughts. Once I, after many years, get convinced, then I can come back to my true self, because the true self is not going anywhere. It's untouched, kept very, very safe in our own heart. Nothing is going to happen with it. So if I'm not yet convinced, if I still know that maybe my thoughts will give me a resolution and not getting in touch with true self, okay, my choice. I make that choice. And after many years, if I have, as Kabir says, daudat, daudiya, if I've ran enough, then I can come back. So those of us who would like to, please join us, join me, and let us just center ourselves, taking a very relaxed. If you can keep your back straight, would be nice. If you're lying down, that's also okay. Taking 3 deep and long relaxing breaths. And now staying with just the regular, whatever pattern of breathing that you settle in, just settling in your regular breathing. And even if you feel you are altering it, that's also okay. Don't bother much about it. Consciously breathing. I am aware of my breathing, staying with the breath. And with the breath, I get in touch with the body. Staying with it like a good friend, how the good friend would stay with you in tough times, good times. Just like that, staying with the breath and the body. If possible, feeling each and every particle of the body, becoming one with it. Almost telling inwardly, I am here with you. Staying with the breathing and the physical sensations. Taking 10 conscious breaths without slipping into thought forest. Let us try. Taking 10 continuous breaths without letting go ourselves in the thoughts. And we see how challenging it is because one wants to go to the thought field again and again, right? So that's the old pattern, the old groove that we have set for ourselves. That's why we keep on going back on that track again and again. Now we have to make a new groove. We have to settle down into a new track for ourselves. And that is why I need practice there. So the moment I will go to the older track, the habitual track, I will come back to the new track that I am forming for myself, which is the track of being aware of the breath, being with the bodily sensations. It is here that all the deeper resolutions are found. Effortlessly. The only effort that is required of me is whenever I notice myself going off on the old track, going on the old track, I again bring myself to the awareness of the breath. This is true intimacy, being one with myself. Very simple. It's not complicated at all. That's why mind at times can say, oh my God, how simple, maybe I want something complicated. It's very, very simple. Sahaj. Staying with the breath and knowing that I am aware that I am breathing. I am aware of the physical sensations. I am aware that I go to the thoughts and feelings again and again. I am aware. I am this awareness. Rest, everything is secondary. I am aware. And awareness has no problems living with unresolved things. Discontent may be there. Unresolved relationships may be there. Awareness says yes to all. Yes to everything. It's like maybe sometimes you go to a relative's place and the relative is very loving and caring. And no matter how much hadkamp you machao at his place, he does not say anything about it. He says, okay, allowed. Very loving, kind, empathetic presence. That's who we are truly. This awareness that allows everything to be. Just like space allows everything to be. It doesn't say this is a bad chair, bad human being, cannot come here. Never does space would say that thing, right? This is our true nature, true intimacy with ourselves. I am awareness. I can allow the content to be. Thoughts, feelings, insects, birds, discontent, unresolved relationships, issues of past and future. Let them stay. My completion is not dependent on them. I am full. I am complete. I am aware. I am aware. So this is the practice that we can use, not to waste our restful times, the silent times, in being in the thought forest all the time, because that drains. This replenishes me. This replenishes, rejuvenates me when I take this holy, sacred dip in the Ganges, almost. And this is what we call true rest. If I really want to rest, usually we rest in front of a television, for example, or talking to a friend, maybe chatting to a friend. That's also okay. At times we require that. But if the restful times can be truly in a deep rest, resting as awareness, we change. Every day becomes fuller and completer and full of new things, unfolding of life then can happen. And as awareness, I don't cling to things. But as when I'm lost in the forest of thought, I cling, I become very clingy to either people in my life, things in my life, situations. This should happen that way, become very rigid, solid, identify too much with thoughts and feelings. But when, for example, there is a feeling of jealousy, hate, whatever, ill will, and I say, okay, I see you, you can be here. And you don't listen to then the dictate of it. We don't listen to the story that it has to say. There we don't go. We say, okay, I see you and you can be here. And I stay with my breathing and the physical sensation of whatever negative, unpleasant thing that is there. Physical sensation, that's the catch. So being with my negative emotion would not mean thinking about the negative emotion. Being with my negative emotion would be allowing myself to touch the physical sensation that the emotion provides, and to stay with the breath, continuously to stay with the breath. Thoughts will come in between, thak, thak, thak. Imagine the example that I was using earlier was that imagine that you are a rugby player, you have a rugby in your hand and you're running to the other pole. Too many players are coming and trying to stop you. So these are thoughts, feelings, this me, that me, all the kabard that we carry in our head. It tries to stop you. It doesn't allow you to cling to the breath. And what are you going to say? I am not leaving my breath. I am going to be consciously staying with my breath in my body. And that's how you cut through the older patterns of habit. That's how we cut through. Like breath is it's like a sharp knife which cuts through the old patterns, repetitive patterns of thought and emotions. Kabir has said, many couplets about breath. He says, "Mala hai nij swas ki, फेरेगा कोई दास, 84 भर में नहीं, फिर मिटे काल की फांस." So he says that किसकी माला फेरनी है हमको? माला है निज श्वास की. फेरेगा कोई दास, only the one who is loyal to truth, slave to truth, who now wants truth, would be able to phero that mala, that tuck, 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 every moment to be clinging to breath. Because if we don't cling to breath, we will cling to something else. This we have to realize. I'll cling to either people in my life, thoughts and ideas in my head, my feelings, my emotions. So either this way or that way. If I'm not clinging to the breath, I will cling to the forest, thought forest, emotion forest. That will bring me pain. And immediately I'll get reminded, oh, I got lost again. Time to come back, cling to the breath. So anything anyone would like to share before we close, maybe in 10-15 minutes or so? Anything anyone wants to share?
I just ऐसे ही I don't know what is this example, मैं अपने आप को analogy दे रही थी उसके साथ. एक दिन I kept the water for boiling. पानी जब उबलने लगता है तो like when it is on the बिल्कुल verge of boiling, नीचे पहले bubbles बनने लगते हैं, right? छोटे छोटे बुदबुदे से उठते हैं. तो I was thinking कि अच्छा that is what happens mind maybe sometimes. आपको दिख रहा होता है कि ये thought उठ रहा है, ये thought उठ रहा है, ये thought उठ रहा है. You see them and suddenly जैसे हम गैस की फ्लेम तेज करते हैं, ऐसे ही अगर हमने 2-3 थॉट्स को पावर दी, वो पानी बहुत ज्यादा उबलने लग जाता है और वो खिचड़ी पकने लग जाती है बहुत सारे बुलबुलों की, लाइक एंड देन सडनली जैसे हमने गैस को ऑफ किया, धीरे धीरे इट ऑल सेटल्स डाउन. सो आई थिंक आई वाज जस्ट थिंकिंग दिस इज हाउ द माइंड इज एज वेल. जहां आपने उसको दे दी थोड़ी आग कि हाँ चलिए थॉट आया, इससे दूसरा पकड़ ले, तीसरा पकड़ ले, चौथा पकड़ ले, तो वो खिचड़ी पक के उबलने लग गए थॉट्स. एंड जब अवेयरनेस में आके आपने उसको बोला दैट्स इट, नॉट एनी मोर, तो you just watch and then they settle down.
That's a beautiful example. Yeah, absolutely. Bilkul. This is how we slip into the thought forest, as you shared. कि एक के बाद एक and the thread goes on and we are in the thought forest.
I just kept on watching that water, छोटा सा pot था and नीचे surface पे बन रहे हैं bubble. And suddenly this thing came into mind that is how our mind is like.
Very powerful example. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Beautiful. This is why, vigilance, to be vigilant is one of the things each master has stressed upon. Mother Shri Aurobindo talk about vigilance. Kabir says that my house is on the top, like a peak of a mountain. The moment I slip, vigilance falters, I am in deep abyss. This is how he says. Then he also compares it with this woman walking on the rope. We have 2 poles and rope walking is being done. So he says that this is how we have to be vigilant, that we are walking on that rope, razor's edge almost, and the moment the woman's parallel consciousness that, hey, the rope is there, slips, she trips down. So as she is making her moves and dancing about, she has to continuously to be vigilant of being aware of walking on the rope. So this parallel consciousness is something which slowly we develop, that not getting too lost in the drama of our life, because after all it's a drama. It's a drama that it's not that serious. It is a drama. And if I can maintain that parallel consciousness, then I can also master it. Otherwise, I am puppeted around by it. But if I retain that parallel consciousness, then I can master my movements while I am walking on this tightrope. So yes, as you rightly said, this vigilance is a very important point. And we cannot drop this vigilance. Yeah, please.
और आजकल जैसे मैं कई बार गार्डन में भी काफी काम करती हूँ, जो ऑब्वियसली प्लांट्स लगाए हैं तो साथ में वीड्स उगती हैं, लाइक उखाड़ के समटाइम्स आई एम जस्ट टेकिंग देम आउट. कई बार फोर्सफुली भी निकालनी पड़ती हैं. तो वही फिर अगेन आई टेल माई सेल्फ कि अंदर भी कितनी तरह की वीड्स उगा रखी हैं आपने, कोई पॉइजनस थॉट्स की, किसी भी तरह की. डू वी एवर ट्राई हार्ड इनफ टू पुल देम आउट एंड replace them with something better?
Yeah, I think this is what Aisha in the beginning started with, that how to just uproot all this negativity that we are full of. And as you were sharing, yes, Nandini, thank you for joining. Thank you. Bye. How to uproot? To be aware of the weed. To know weed as a weed. Because if I would know weed as a flower, I will nurture it.
Yes, there's no other way but to become aware that it is weed. It is
Become
weed.
aware.
There is
Yes.
no other way. No other way. In
Yeah.
the last 1 year, that is what exactly I have learned so far. There is no other way but
Yeah.
to be aware. But to be, sometimes you will be able to check them out. Sometimes you will not be able to check them out. Be with them, then become aware. Yes, it is there. Yes, it is there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. Kabir has this another couplet on this, I'm reminded of that. He says, मोह सलिल की धार में बह गए गंभीर, सूक्ष्म मछली सुरती है, चढ़ती उल्टा नीर. So he says that in the game of clinging, the bahav of clinging and attachment, moh, bade bade gambhir log, they just were swept away in that bahav, the flow of attachment, the attachment to our thoughts, attachment to our feelings, whatever. And how do I cross it? He says, Shukshma machli surati hai. Surati is awareness. So surati, so imagine that the flow is like this, from top to bottom. And what does awareness do? Awareness is like a little, very delicate fish. It travels in the opposite direction. Sukshma machli surati hai, chadti ulta neer. So it doesn't take us in the sway of emotions and impulses and all the clinging and attachment. It takes the way back home. So as you were sharing, that without being awareness and practicing being awareness, why to practice? Because we become unconscious. Again and again, we become unconscious. So to consciously know ourselves as awareness, the light of awareness, in that we find resolutions, whatever resolutions can be found. But there is, as you said, there is no other way. We cannot escape being ourselves and living a good life. We will have to know who we truly are. There is no other way, as you shared, yeah.
Yeah, even one of, I think, last week's talk or something, I was listening to you once mentioned that और कुछ नहीं कर सकते तो यही करते रहो. Look mother, I am breathing now. Look mother, I am brushing now. I think that कहने को है कि छोटी सी बात ऐसे कि but it has so much power. I am trying as much as possible now, but it has really changed me. Like whenever I'm going there, I become aware, and then I say, look mother, I'm going there now again, and then forget. Okay, bring myself again and again. Okay, I'm eating now. I'm going to sleep now. Those little things, they have really लगेगा कि इससे क्या होगा. But वही आपकी वाली बात, till the time you try, you won't know. But this thing really helps.
Absolutely. And what does happen actually? So when I'm saying, mother, I'm breathing. Mother, I'm brushing. What is happening? Those of us who don't relate with the mother, it's okay. What is actually happening? I am becoming aware of whatever activity I am doing. Mother, I am getting lost. Mother, I am thinking. So if I remove the word mother, for those of us who cannot relate maybe with it, that's also okay. How to do it? I am aware that I am breathing. I am aware that I am brushing. I am aware that I am walking. So it's just to bring awareness to the whatever, because we do it unconsciously, all the activities we are doing, but we are doing it unconsciously. So mother also shares that why are you doing this? Because you are becoming conscious of whatever you are doing by offering it to me, by bringing me on the path, you are becoming conscious of it. So consciousness or awareness is the key. In Savitri, there is this line that comes, life is a paradox with God as a key. So what is the key? The key is this consciousness, the God consciousness, the divine consciousness, the awareness that we are. That's the key. And of course, it is not simple because there are so many glitters around there which attract us. Of course, it is not simple. But those of us who want this life, it's possible, because Otherwise, there is not any joy to be found in life if we keep on missing our true self and trying to find joy here, there, everywhere. We will not find it. We will not find it. And even that, that is, as you were sharing, Radhana ji, that it's a beautiful beginning that in my day-to-day activities, time to time, I bring reminders of awareness in between. Okay, I am sitting cross-legged. Just that. Okay, I am having this thought. So I suddenly, from the thought, my attention comes to, I am aware. Okay, I'm thinking about the past again. So again, from the content, the attention comes back to, I am aware of the content. So this is the practice that is required of us. There is no end to this practice. We can never say that I've had it enough and now I'm dropping this practice. That would never happen. It's a continuing, unending journey, and that's the beauty of it. There is no end to it. Inner adventure. And this is how the inner treasure opens up. We open up some inner treasure.
Yeah, even when in the morning जब मैं school जाती हूँ every day, just as soon as I enter, open the gate and go. Before I step out of my car, I always say कि again I am in your service. कि use me the way you want me to. And अगर मैं काम कर रही हूँ, मैं सोच रही हूँ, मैं नहीं सोच रही. It's you who is thinking through me. My hands, if they are working, that power, that energy is coming from you. So it is like my everyday affirmation now since the time I have started going back to school. So it shifts something.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yeah, any last reflections, any comments, anyone?
Hi.
Yeah, hi Mandeep.
I joined really late. I forgot the time, but when I had read the message, I wanted to hear this, so maybe I'll revisit the recording. Actually, I don't have a reflection, but this is something that I face a lot. I just wanted to see if you've talked about it or if there is something somebody may like to share. I totally understand the importance of awareness in the sense, and I have no confusion that breath can be the source of that. But when I try to sit down, my mind finds tens and hundreds of excuses. Okay, and I have noticed that there are some phases when I will just sit and probably meditate, and there are phases when I'll just drop the practice. It makes me feel helpless because my mind probably is not strong to impose, a routine. And I don't know if somebody has faced this and then what is the way around. But I seem to be, tossing between doing it for some weeks, sometimes months, and then the practice just drops completely. And then I have to start from the scratch because the muscle has weakened.
Yeah, anyone would like to share any reflection upon it?
Yeah, I could offer that you're not alone. I've had those same thoughts and same experience for myself. And it seems the solution is just to, I think, as you put it, Monica, just dust oneself off and get up and get back on the horse and continue, I do contemplate, like, why do I let it slip? When I see the benefit of doing it regularly, then what is this part that somehow seems to either think, well, okay, I'm good now, life's fine, or I'm feeling more peaceful, so that's what lets it slip? Or some taking Mother's presence or the Divine's presence with me for granted, or I don't know, what is this? I'm still contemplating, what is this thing that allows it to drop, when, as you say, the benefits of doing it are so great. So yes. And today, in fact, I noticed I'm going through a big kind of meeting that seems very scary to me in a couple of days. And yesterday in Sunlit Path, I was reading a passage from the Mother about, if you make the Divine part of every moment, then how rich it gets, how expansive, how beautiful. So as these moments are very fearful for me, then even remembering that and saying, okay, can I find some kind of expansion, some peace, some presence of the Divine, even as I'm fearing and apparently in such contraction, which is sometimes that same discomfort comes when I let practice drop. As the last speaker was saying, it can be very similar, this feeling of disconnection, aloneness. And I did find these moments, waking up with the fear, calling the Divine, looking for the Divine there, that there was some distance that happened from the drama and the pain. And that stepping back distance was the comfort of the Divine. And so I wonder if even in those moments where I let practice drop, if it's just simply about remembering the Mother, remembering the Divine, to say, okay, I've let practice drop. I haven't read anything, or I'm stuck in my bad thoughts or bad feelings. Help me anyway, or be with me through this. So somehow in every moment, even the hard times, yeah. That seems one of the ways that it's coming to me these days.
Yeah, thank you, Swapna. Anyone else would like to add on? So the question is, there are two, I think, if I can divide it into two questions. One is, why do I slip? When I know it's so beneficial for me, why do I slip? Why do I let go of, if I can say, the practice? That's how we are. The journey is from unconsciousness to consciousness, in the words of Mother. The journey is from darkness to light. So if I continue asking, why is darkness there? Why is darkness there? Why is unconsciousness there? Why is unawareness there? Why is it there? That's the design. So without putting too much shame on myself that, oh my God, I slipped again. No, not any need of going there. As Swapna was sharing, I dust off my pants. And if I know it is beneficial for me, if it is giving me some fulfillment in life, some betterment as a person, I come back to it. No matter if I swayed from it 2 years, 10 years, 20 years, doesn't matter. Shamelessly walking the path. And knowing that this will happen, knowing that we will falter from our vigilance, because glitter is too much, senses are there. That's why Kabir has almost said the senses are enemies. They are not really enemies, but they are enemies in that sense that we lose our way. उसने कहा तो कैसे कह दिया उसने, कान से enter किया. Kan is a sense, it's entered my ear, and the mind cannot stop but think about it. So this is how we are fooled. एक जीव रिपु पांच. So he says that एक जीव है, one living being, and how many enemies he has? 5. The 5 senses have been called as the 5 enemies of the living being. Because something appears over there very attractive. And for that, this practicing awareness is not that attractive. So this is what we have to slowly, the more one we become with ourselves and our practice, we find so much delight in it that nothing on the earth gives me so much delight. Are you with me here? That's how I now cannot leave it. If I can leave it, it definitely means that there are something more interesting out there. Go and attend that. It's okay. Something out there in the world, in my thoughts, feelings, appears to be more delightful and interesting. Okay, go ahead. Chart the path. Free will, na? But when you are convinced that I'm not going to find it out there, then when we begin the practice again, we are even more convinced. Even more convinced. And then we begin the joy and delight in this inner practice and knowing ourselves as awareness. It has to become a daily practice. The joy and delight that we find in it, that lets us stick to the practice. And for now, if I'm not finding joy and delight, don't force yourself. Go ahead wherever your senses take you, the mind takes you. Because after some time, there will be a turning back. There is no hurry in eternity. Hurry, I don't mean the Lord. Hurry means the English hurry. There is no jaldbazi in eternity. Eternity has enough time. Lifetimes are there for us to come back home. So there is no hurry. If not in this lifetime, maybe in the next lifetime. But masters have said that the human birth is precious. Don't waste it. So that is also there. Now, what do I want to do is up to me. So if I still find delight in whatever pulls my attention, I must go forward and follow the delight. But now if the practice has become so delightful and joyful that nothing compares the taste of the practice, that will make me come to, as a bee comes to nectar and honey, that will make me come back to myself. And knowing that we will falter, just know for a fact that I will falter. It's okay, doesn't matter. Kids, when they're learning, how many times they fall? Doesn't matter. Get up again, get up again. So we are kids, we are all kids walking way back home. If I continue being guilty about it and shameful about it, I will never be able to walk. Thank God for kids don't have this guilt and shame. Otherwise, they will never be able to walk. Oh my God, I fell again. Would a kid ever be able to walk like that? So allow yourself to fall, but also allow yourself to get up and walk. There is no other way. We are all kids walking our way back home, learning to be back home. We will falter. It's okay to falter, but it's also okay to get up again, guiltlessly and shamelessly. And that's why they call a warrior spirit surma. Kabir would say surma. A warrior spirit is required for this, because it's not a game for a faint-hearted. Oh, I fell again. Oh, I have read so much, but I fell again. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We have to be really shamelessly walking on this path. There is no other way. And that's how we also become compassionate to others. If others fall on the way, it's okay. You are like me. I also keep on falling. You also fall. Get up. That's true compassion. So through my falls, I can get to know of compassion. Yeah, anything more? Anyone wants to share or add on? And also to know that it's a long journey. It's not like one day and done. It's a long, long journey. And no wonder that so many masters have come and gone, so many avatars have come and gone, given us the teachings, yet we remain like a dog's tail. It's okay. That's how it is. But we also have the freedom to walk the path, to take everything on the path. To all the challenges can come on the path, all the negativity, jealousy, emotions, what we were talking of, everything can become a raw material on the path. We don't have to exclude anything. Then it becomes beautiful. Whatever it is, I will learn through it. Whatever it is, I'll grow through it.
And Monica, one of the other things I realize is there's this the voice that tricks so often is the one that goes, but it's not going to help. Like when there's some big challenge on the outer life, then there's like, oh, how is reading Savitri going to help me? That's not going to solve the problem. Or if I just sit and do meditation, I'll do it later once I get this done or that done for that
Swapna,
outer.
what is this voice if not a thought? Why to give it so much of importance? Why to
Exactly. I
not
think it's just that to catch it.
to catch it? Yes, to
It
catch it.
seems to hypnotize me or hijack me, no? So it's like to realize,
that's
like,
why,
don't let myself be hijacked.
that's why we call it Maya, illusory. It hypnotizes you, believing itself to be real. So the moment this thought comes, oh, it's not going to help you. What are you doing? Reading Savitri or spending time in silence. Doesn't matter, come back to me. See it, I see you, Maya. I know it's you, Maya. And once you see the Maya, Maya has no grip over you. As you rightly said, it's the hypnosis that happens. One has just to be aware. What is a voice but not a thought? So not to give it too much of importance. Just like empty bubble, it has no solidity. It has no solidity. We give it power by thinking about it, by buying into the belief. I give it power. So to also know that I am giving it power, I am making it more and more solid and real. To also know that. And if not for my fuel, it has no power. It has no power at all.
It seems it's a combination of that realization, right? That I'm caught in it. I'm believing that story or being hypnotized. And then perhaps taking a step, like saying, okay, despite that voice, I'm going to read half a page of Savitri, for example. I'm using Savitri as an example. Or I'm going to go out for a walk for 10 minutes.
Absolutely.
And maybe it extends then and you do half an hour. But I think for me, sometimes I recognize the voice, but then somehow I loop right back into believing it very quickly without having broken the action of not practicing.
Exactly.
So and to do some baby step to the practice.
Yes. And the next time it happens and you catch the thought, at the level of, as Aradhana ji was sharing, bulbule anish, bubbles have started coming up. The moment one thought comes of this character, which wants to take you away in the old habitual pattern of thought, recognize it. Don't follow the dictate. It is nothing but empty bubble. It's nothing but an empty monster. It has no power over you. Once you know which path you want to walk on, it has no power. And as you said, the moment you take the right step in the right direction without listening to the dictate of the thought, you shift your consciousness. And then the next time it will come up again, so as long as we are alive, we are going to have Maya around us. In this sense of Maya, not talking another sense, but this sense of hypnosis around us. We are going to have this. So to be prepared, if I know that I'm going to be attacked anytime, what do? I become more and more vigilant. That again, it's nothing but a thought. It's nothing but a thought, nothing but a thought. So knowing the empty character of thought. Thoughts are nothing but empty bubbles. Pani ka bulbula, tick and phat. It has nothing. It has no solidity. No solidity. I give it solidity. I have to recognize this, that I give it solidity. And that's why we lose power. That's why we lose power, because the moment I'm getting lost in the forest of thoughts, I am giving my power away to making it so real and solid. And I feel so drained in energy and so helpless. I wonder, where is my energy gone? I have given away the energy in making that empty castle now into a solid and real castle. And the moment I want to say stop, as Aradhana ji was sharing with that example, that time you can stop. And cut, as like sand castle, it comes shattering down. It has no power. No power. So breath, breath is something which is so simple. It is so simple that the mind forgets it. Breath and body consciousness is so simple. Mind wants complicated stuff. It wants an MBA degree. It wants an HR, some complicated thing it should be. But it is so simple that the mind misses it.
Yeah, I just want to thank you and Swapnaji. Thank you for the sharing.
Thank you too. Yeah.
Monica, I have one other piece since we're talking about this. I notice I'll tell myself when I get back to the practice, like, okay, I'm going to do it in the morning. I'll make up my mind. Okay, first thing in the morning, get up as soon as possible, do that before the day starts. And then the number of times that hasn't worked. But on the other hand, I've often read, by making the same time every day or the same part of the day, when you do the practice, whether you're sitting with breath or being aware or reading, that's a good thing. Yet I've noticed it hasn't happened in reality, right? So yeah, I wonder if you had thoughts about that, about having your experience from having a set time of the day or simply throwing it in whenever.
Whenever,
of course,
whenever. Because the mind will fool. See, we have to understand that we are as Kabir has said, we are living with enemies. The mind currently is our biggest enemy, the way it is right now. It just wants to procrastinate. While it doesn't know that in procrastination, it prolongs its own suffering. So whether at a set time or whether not at a set time, 24/7, you are awareness. So whenever you get time, consciously become aware that you are awareness. How much does it take? You don't need to light up any incense sticks. You don't need a ghee or a oil lamp, to light. I light up the lamp and then I will know that I am awareness. No, you don't need that. And the mind will come up in between. It's just the trick of the mind to procrastinate, so that the perpetuation of misery can happen. This is how we are used to live, because ego lives with the perpetuation of misery. So if I procrastinate, I can be ego for a longer duration. So just knowing that it is just a trick, and 24/7 you are awareness, just 24/7 whenever you become conscious that I'm awareness, use that time, whether it is in the middle of the day, in the bathroom, in the washroom, in the kitchen. How does it matter? How does it matter? If set time works for you, good. But if set time doesn't work for you, 24/7 we have to be awareness. It's not only that 5 minutes in the morning I'm awareness and rest of the time I'm unawareness. That doesn't happen. So feel free, totally explore, like experiment unendingly in this accord. Yeah. No need to be categorizing yourself to this or that kind of an idea. The basic idea is to be 24/7 living as awareness. So whatever helps on the path. 24/7 being conscious that I am conscious. It's a challenge. That's the challenge we have to pick up. So whatever works as a tool. Infinite possibilities.
Thanks, Monica.
Thank you. Yeah. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for staying till late and being here and listening and sharing and questioning and reflecting. And I wish more power to each one of us, and may all of us remain as much centered as possible with greater and greater degree. We all deserve this delight. Yeah. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Monica. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much,
Thank-
Monica.
Thank
you.
Thank you, Monica.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.